Playoffs full coverage as the Knicks win Game 2. We will visit with Josh Hart, Tim Leggler, and Windhorst from the Garden. Also highlights from the Canadiens and Hurricanes Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Montreal comes out flying there. We begin in the Garden. Game 2, New York, New York, big city of dreams. The Cavs allowed that huge lead in Game 1 to evaporate. They might look back on that with great disdain. They're up by 5 early. Karl-Anthony Towns on the drive. And again, bullying his way through the contact from Jared Allen. And it's a 1-point deficit. Cavs down 1. Evan Mobley has ball fake and nasty baseline left-hand flush. He had 10 in the first quarter. Cavs lead by 1. And Cleveland started out shooting well from deep. 5 of their first 10, including this one from Donovan Mitchell. They then went 4 of 25 from 3 the rest of the way, and that was problematic. We're now tied off the miss from Jalen Brunson. Mitchell Robinson there with the putback. And now this was a giant storyline in the game. Josh Hart, they're going to let him have that one, and he would make Cleveland pay. Hart again on the wide open look. Brunson with a good feed. He buries that, and the Knicks lead by 4 at halftime. Cavs down 3. There's one of those misses from 3. Woo-woo-woo! Hart in transition pushes the lead to 5. More comfortable evening in the Garden than it was when they had to come flying back in the fourth. Game 1. The run adds another bucket on a Brunson turnaround in the lane. Mobley has it poked away. Hart finds Mikal Bridges. And Timothy Chalamet. Let's add to the run. Hart again. What a night he had. It's 14 straight. It would cap off with an 18-0 run. Hart again, a clean look. All 3 of these. That's the longest unanswered scoring run this postseason for the Knicks, and they are comfortably ahead. Although you never know in this league. Here, a little sloppy with the basketball, careless. Jalen Tyson, screen, roll, good feed. And it's a 7-point game. 10-point game. Floater from Mitchell, who had 26. It's back to 8. Knicks ahead by 10. Good ball movement, and it's Bridges. Little hockey assist, if you will. The lead's back to 13. Brunson gets away with a little shoulder shove on Harden, and the lead grows. Under 5 to go. Again, they're up double digits. And it's Hart spinning with the shot clock winding down. That kind of night for him. 26, a standing ovation. And the Garden is doing a little arithmetic. Well, Cleveland will have something to say about that. They've been excellent at home, but they're going to need to do their work in a hurry. Pleasure to be joined after a playoff career high 26 by Josh Hart. And Josh, on the floor with Lisa Salters, you shared that you're rooted in your faith and you pray for humility. So I appreciate that you're not here to pound your chest and talk about what you did. But I'm interested in what's most satisfying about the role you played in this second win in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't know. I think for me, I think I said it with Lisa. I think I started 0 for 3 from 3, and I knew they were going to continue to leave me open. And I had 2 choices to stop shooting or to keep shooting and watch them go in. And I did the latter, and I was proud of that.
When a shooter sees the ball go through the bucket, when the Garden starts roaring the way it does, how do you best describe what that feels like and how hard it is not to heat check a step across half court?
Yeah, I don't think you got to worry about me heat checking the step across half court. But man, this place is special. You get into that mode. You see the ball go in a couple of times. For me, I just kind of black out and I just play the game like I'm a little kid in the park and like I've been doing it for years. I just kind of have fun with it.
Speaking of the Garden, we see the legends, right? And when I was on your podcast with you and Jalen, we talked about some old-time hoop guys, and there's legends, right? And whether it's Bernard or Walt Clyde or Patrick, I could keep going. But what's been the message of the old guard, the guys that have done it, to this group as you inch closer to the ultimate goal?
Just keep working, keep fighting, never be satisfied. This is a special place. It's the only place that has their alumni out here, showing up every playoff game. So they're just talking to us, making sure we have our eye on the ultimate goal and keep pushing us.
I appreciate that. I'm asking this sincerely because, each win gets you closer, but the goal's still not realized, as the late, great Kobe Bryant said. Job's not finished. How much fun can you allow it to be, right? Like each night like this, I have to think it's fun, but maybe not. It looks like you're shaking your head.
Yeah, right now, we want our fans, our supporters to have as much fun as they possibly can during this run. But for us, we got to be locked in. Once you start getting happy and satisfied, that's when things turn. So we know this team just came down from a comeback from being down 2-0. And, they just did it. So we got to make sure we come in with a sense of urgency and desperation and can't be satisfied with it.
Understood. All right, let's get to the most important thing on the way out, your golf game. You told me before we started you haven't played in a while. I mean, if you leave those clubs in the closet until late June, you still got all summer to play. So is that the game plan? Wait till late June to finally get out there?
Yeah, man. Late June, my wife and I were going to go to Bordeaux. So I'm going to have some wine first. And then after that, I told her I need at least 1 or 2, golf days a week. So I can't wait, but we're going to push it off as far as we can.
Understood. I would suggest the golf before the wine, but you do what you want to do. Josh, congrats on a phenomenal night tonight, and appreciate you sharing some time, all right?
Thanks, my guy. Have a good one.
9 consecutive victories for the Knicks, which extends their postseason franchise record. 13th team all-time to go on a 9-game winning streak during a postseason run. 11 of the previous dozen would make the NBA Finals, and 7 of those won the title. But they still have 2 more games to win before they can even play for the title. That means Cleveland and Kenny Atkinson are on the wrong side of a 2-0 playoff ledger.
It would have been great to steal 2. That was the idea. We had an opportunity to, and we didn't. So go home for game 3 and protect home court like we have been.
Brian Windhorst joins us from the Garden, where the stars are out. It only is getting more blinding in terms of the assemblage of stars because, man, the city is 2 games away from the finals. This New York team, I think, expected to win the series. They were favorites. It would have been suffocating pressure if they dropped game 1, but they didn't. What did you see from the home team tonight? What kind of freedom?
Yeah, so this Knicks team really does have a lot going for it. They are not a perfect team. They were not the best team in the NBA during the regular season, but they have a lot going for it. And one of the things that they can do is play different ways. They have different players who can do different things. And so Jalen Brunson crushes the Cavs in game 1. So the Cavs come back naturally and try to clamp down on him. They totally don't guard Josh Hart. And this was one of the reasons why he got benched at the end of game 1, because the Knicks weren't surviving well when they were going 4-on-5. This game, they go to him, and he crushes the Cavs with an all-time terrific performance from him, not only with the 26 points, but also with 7 assists. So not only did Brunson end up with 14 assists, one of his best assist games ever, but he got a bunch of hockey assists because he was kicking it to Hart, and the Cavs would scramble to him, and he would kick it onward. This is what really good teams do, what championship teams do, beat you in different ways. The Harden-Brunson thing is still a problem for the Cavs, but it was Josh Hart that knocked them off tonight.
This Cleveland team knows the assignment, right? They have to win a game in the Garden, and they let one that they had in their grasp slip through their fingers. They have been great at home. They did erase a 0-2 deficit already. What's your sense of how they respond as this series pivots to Cleveland over the weekend?
Well, Kenny Atkinson likes to focus on process. He likes to think about stuff like shot quality. He will probably say after this game that they did have good process, that they got a lot of open shots, that they just missed them, and that if they get those same open shots in games 3 and 4, they could come back here in game 5 and have a 2-2. That could be true. But the truth is their margin for error against a team like the Knicks is just much smaller. And even though Donovan Mitchell has played fine, he has not played special. And you're going to need special to win in the Garden. And so they're going to go back in a situation where they got to win 4 out of 5. And I think the odds of that are very long. And I suspect, you never know in the NBA, but I suspect Game 1 is going to stick in their minds for a long time.
I completely agree with that. The Donovan Mitchell applauding to his team at the end, that's leadership, but they know in their heart of hearts, look, we had the win we had to get, and we squandered it. And I just wonder how you flush that entirely. Just a final thought on this Knicks team, because I agree, look, they weren't the best team in the league, but all they have to be is the best team in June if they get there. Just imagine for me the city, the Garden, and this Knicks team in a final series. What might that look like?
So this isn't just about this year. This fan base started falling in love with this team 2 years ago when they made that first playoff run. And then last year when they upset the Celtics. And then really this is the culmination of a multi-year stage to get close to it. And the city loves the way they play. This is not a mercenary team. They have built this team methodically. They have their 10,000 hours in with this group. They've watched them have a bunch of comeback victories. Scott, they've got 4 20-point comeback wins in the playoffs in the last 2 years. All of that has built this incredible faith in this roster. You feel the connection in the building. You feel the connection in the city. This is something, look, around here, they talk about 1994 and grown men get tears in their eyes and look up to the ceiling. That's building with this unit. I don't know if they're going to win it, but you can feel that what's happening now is going to be celebrated for a long time. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges are going to be sitting courtside here in 20 years, no matter how this season ends up.
About that, and this is sort of, I don't know, this is a bit of psychological study here. If, and I underline if, they win 2 more games and they await the winner of the Spurs and the Thunder, could all of that, could the city, could all the alumni, could it become a lot to deal with, right? It's not just the 4 games you got to win. It's the ghosts, and it's how desperately the alums want to see this group do it. Feels like a lot to me.
I don't think so. Because I think there's a pureness to this. If they got there once or twice and didn't get it done, they would feel the pressure. And really, let's just be 100% real. The pathway to putting a banner up there is to win this series in a sweep, to go to Cleveland, handle your business, and then watch the Spurs and Thunder beat the hell out of each other and watch the injury report grow and try to – I mean, that's just the real part. So really, and they'll never say this out loud. Jalen Brunson will never say anything even mildly disrespectful, but in their heart of hearts and in their brains, this is what they think that the pathway is. If they want to win it, they need the 6 more wins. That's probably the pathway. So they go to Cleveland this weekend with that on their mind.
They've been great on the road, but Cleveland's been great at home. It's a proud Cavs team. I expect to see them fight with all their gusto on Saturday night. Brian, I appreciate the time. Look forward to continuing the conversation. Eastern Conference flavor. And speaking of streaks, Montreal's Cleveland, as New York's won 9 straight, the longest postseason winning streak in franchise history. They're the 13th team in NBA history to get on a 9-game run in a single postseason. Of the previous 12, all but one reached the NBA Finals, which make a number of series, right? In NBA playoff history, teams who take a 2-0 lead in the best of 7 have won over 92% of the time. Most recently, it was 2020. The Knicks are the 11th team to take a 2-0 lead in the conference finals, and the previous 10 won them all. Series shifts to Cleveland, Game 3, Saturday night. Cavs look to avoid a 3-0 series deficit. No teams overcome in playoff history. Cavs, though, have been good at home this postseason. Joined now by Tim Leggler, who is courtside in the Garden, where the Knicks roll to a 2-0 series lead. And, Tim, the connectivity of the Knicks defense felt like a big part of this night. Cleveland started hot from 3, then couldn't buy one. Am I onto something? Is the Knicks defense the reason why they won this game tonight?
Knicks defense has turned into an elite defense here in the postseason, and they adjusted some things during the course of the year. You know, their efficiency of their offense, Scott, has helped that defense, because when you're taking the ball out of the net a lot, that's what you're going to get. Defensively, you can set up to be this connected off the dribble in the way they're going to protect the lane. You're going to have to knock down your share of three-point shots, and tonight just wasn't Cleveland's night. And on the other end, Josh Hart had an answer for that with 5 of his own, because Cleveland decided to leave him most of the night, and he made him pay.
Brunson was ordinary to below average in terms of his scoring. I think he had 17 against Atlanta, but that was the game they won by like 50 points. But he had a career high in the playoffs in assists. If you tell Cleveland and Coach Atkinson, hey, he's going to get 19, they're going to feel good about their chances. How did Brunson facilitate and put others in a position to hurt Cleveland?
He recognized immediately the shift, and the shift was this. They were going to rotate multiple bodies to his side of the floor. They let him play, obviously, one-on-one in that fourth quarter of game one late. And I think now the adjustment, and then delivering the ball where it was supposed to go to make the game very easy in 4-on-3s and 3-on-2s out of those traps.
I'm a big fan of Donovan Mitchell across the board. Everything about his constitution. At the end of this game, Tim, he's applauding to his bench. He's giving his guys a look like, we're all right, we're all right. They have to know, and their heart of hearts, Tim, we have to win a game in the Garden to win this series, and we had a 22-point lead in game one and we lost it. I'm not saying they can't win this series, but when you go back home knowing what you let get away in game one, in your heart of hearts, do you have to feel like, I don't know how we win this series if you're the Cavs?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my mentality since they let that slip away. Scott, you said it. It's a math problem, right? You got to get to 4. And for the Cavs, they had a different problem coming in. They had to win a road game. The Knicks don't. And the Cavs had a road win right there in front of them. We're not able to close the deal. So I was really curious to see how they came out tonight. I expected the Knicks to be much better offensively early in the game because it took them a while to find their rhythm after that layoff. And they were better offensively in the first half. But there, you look up, and the Cavs are right there. So I think they took the first punch. Emotionally, they were in the right place. But once the run came, that's when you kind of felt a little bit that loss of game one carried over in that moment. Were they going to be able to answer that run or stop the bleeding if the Knicks were able to get separation in the second half and the Cavs weren't? And they still haven't solved the Jalen Brunson riddle because he went ISO mostly in the fourth quarter overtime of game one, got a win. Tonight, a lot of traffic. He picks them apart. They haven't figured out that end of the floor. That's the biggest challenge for the Cavs, as well as you have to get better shooting out of your role play, what they do.
Of course.
The way I made my living, and I expect them to be better at home because those guys are too elite, particularly Merrill, who had great looks in the first half and could have made a big difference. I know he's beating himself up a little bit. Those guys will be better in Cleveland. I expect the offense to be better. How do they solve this Jalen Brunson problem? That's still an issue for the Cavs.
Cleveland has been fantastic at home. They are going to have to be. New York now just 2 games away from making it to the NBA Finals. Tim Leggler, appreciate the time. We'll talk Saturday, all right? Series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jalen fourth quarter comeback was pedestrian in terms of his scoring, at least early, but facilitated. 5 assists in the first half, only 2 points scoring. But again, a lot of ways that he can impact this Knicks squad, especially on a night when his podcast partner is going to hit everything he looks at. But now in the second half, Brunson, I don't want the screen. I'm going to get to my right, then pull from deep. That puts New York up 3. 14 assists on this night, and Brunson, Cat gave the outlet. Brunson with the dish to Hart. Then it's Brunson drawing the attention of everyone on Cleveland, and wide open is Hart. So it's the combination of Hart's career scoring night and Brunson's career assist night in the playoffs. There's the same recipe right there. Brunson scored or assisted on 15 of the 18 points in the Knicks' 18-0 run. Now in control, up 15 on the break. Brunson, Donovan Mitchell not going to challenge that. There's no reason. Up 17, and then it's Brunson one more time to Mikal Bridges. 19 points, 14 assists. That's the most in a playoff game by a Knick since Charlie Ward in '98. Here's some thoughts after the Game 2 win.
I think it's an advantage for us, learning how to play differently. There are going to be times where one game plan is going to be different than the next. And so being able to adjust and learn on the fly and adjust on the fly is something that we need to continue to get better at. But I think we've been doing a great job of it. We just got to continue to be open to figure out how we can win the next game.
As an MVP candidate, Jalen Brunson's job is to make the game easier for his teammates, and that's what he did. if you don't send a second guy at him, he's got a pretty good chance of scoring it. If you send the second guy at him, he's going to make the game easier for his teammates. He's going to find them. They just have to step up and make shots. So it starts with Jalen as an MVP candidate, but also it ends with his.
Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, Knicks hosting the Cavaliers after.
Our team they're very good at home. They were down, 0-2 against Detroit. And again, Cleveland is well coached. Kenny's an excellent coach, and they have a load of talent on that team. We know those guys are hungry and they don't quit. So we know this game 3 is going to be tough in Cleveland because they're coming.
In our minds, it's 0-0. We got to win the next game. It's the most important game of the year, and that's how we treat it. We're hungry for the opportunity to go out there and play basketball at the highest level, but we also understand that you can never be satisfied in these positions and in the playoffs. So the mindset's going to continue to be 0-0 every single time we step on that court.
The Knicks are winners of 9 straight games, extending their playoff franchise record. They're the 13th team in NBA history to go on a 9-game win streak in a single postseason, and 11 of the previous 12 made the NBA Finals. 7 of them, Phil, won it all.
His defense was. Did you see how wide open Josh Hart was on those 2 3-pointers? Look at that right there. There's nobody in the vicinity, for crying out loud. You're looking at Mikal Bridges come down for a layup. It's uncontested. You're just looking at Cleveland and like, hello, do you not know that this is the Eastern Conference Finals, that, you're 4 wins away from going to the NBA Finals? Where's the level of urgency and what have you? You didn't see, quite honest with you, just an absence of intelligent basketball. Evan Mobley had 14 points in the first half. He didn't shoot in the second half. Y'all ain't get him the ball. It makes no sense whatsoever to see what's transpiring with Cleveland. They look like a team that doesn't belong. They attempted 80 shots and only assisted on 15. You can't make this up. It's really, really shocking at how anemic they look. But the Knicks exploited it and took advantage like a good team is supposed to.
So, Stephen A., the Cavs have a terrible fourth quarter, cost them game 1, a terrible third quarter, cost them game 2. Going back to Cleveland, down 2-0, but they are 6-1 at home in these playoffs. What has to change for this thing not to be a wrap by middle of next week?
Well, a couple of things. They got to remember that they're supposed to have a basketball IQ. Play smart basketball. Make sure you get the ball to the hot hand. Make sure Donovan Mitchell's feeding off that crowd and he's being the tremendous player that we know he can be. If Harden ain't the one that's going to get it done for you, but you see Evan Mobley is making some noise, make sure you get him the damn ball. He can play. He's not a scrub. He gets an NBA check too. Get him the ball. But they've got to defend. They certainly have to upgrade their defensive intensity. They have to play with a level of urgency, which I have no doubt they will do in front of that home crowd in Cleveland. They recognize what's at stake. The crowd is certainly not going to sit idly by and watch them be as pathetically lackadaisical as they were in certain parts in game 2. So I think you can see a heightened level of energy, certainly a heightened level of efficiency on the part of a Donovan Mitchell. If James Harden ain't the one to get it involved with you, get Jared Allen and obviously Evan Mobley involved and go that way. But they know that they don't want to face the brink of elimination. Nobody's come back from a 3-0 deficit. They're not going to be the first team to do that. They know they have to win game 3, otherwise bring out your broomsticks. In all likelihood, they're going to get swept. So there is a level of urgency. I expect them to play with it, but it doesn't mean much if you don't attach an IQ to that level of urgency. You got to play smarter basketball than we've seen them play, and they certainly have to play tenacious defense in order for them to pull out a game in this series.
A pivotal game 3 that'll be Saturday in Cleveland. Stephen A. Smith, thanks as always.